everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Hue Capital Podcast. As you all can see, we're doing this a little different this time. And I said a little, but I mean a lot different. Like, look behind me. We have suits. There's a person next to me, like a human body. Like, this is going to be a really fun interview. And I don't only mean that because, one, we're in person, and two, I have my guest next to me. But three, I just kind of feel like it's really going to be a fun live experience. So, with that being said, today I have a very special guest. And I say special because, fun fact, we actually did this interview virtually 2 years ago, or maybe like a year and a half ago. But due to unfortunate circumstances, it was gone. It disappeared. And I'll probably put that story in the caption just to see if y'all read. But all in all, we're here now. He gave me a second chance, and I'm really happy to do this interview because I feel like we have so much to learn from Mr. Ijay Sanchez. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. And everyone deserves a second chance. And especially while building a dream, how could I stop that? Or how could I be like, no, you know what? No, you can't see me again. So I'm here. I'm excited.
So I have a question. When you say that everybody has a second chance, do you also mean that in relationships also? Not the crazy start. Don't answer that. He's actually not going to answer that because I don't want to get anybody in trouble and I don't want this clip to go viral and you all hold it against him, all right? But we're going to get to the serious stuff. Ijay, so I can do your introduction. I can tell them so many things about you, but I think it would be best if you told them about you. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Ijay Sanchez. I was born in Honduras, Central America, Honduras, in poverty, and I came to the South Bronx of New York at the tender age of 6, being culturally shocked, not knowing anything about American society and like the practices. So everything was completely new to me and my parents, and just being able to navigate through not only the crack epidemic, but also the violence of just being raised in the South Bronx. So a lot of my upbringing values come from my culture, my Garifuna culture. A lot of you may be like, what's Garifuna? You know, so the Garifuna people are actually in Honduras, in Guatemala, in Nicaragua, and Belize. So we got exiled from St. Vincent, and we ended up on the outskirts of Central America. You know, if you think about a boat and then Central America, all those places that I mentioned are literally on the edges of Central America. So I'm Hispanic, but the only reason why I speak Spanish is because Honduras is a Spanish-speaking country. So, for example, Garifunas in Belize, they don't speak Spanish because Belize isn't a Spanish-speaking country. So the culture we have is, you know, with the food and the music, we're Arab, Indian, Afro-Caribbean. You know, so if you've ever seen one of your friends that love Beres Hammond, but then they go and start dancing bachata, and then they go to, our culture is punta music. We dance to punta music, you know, and Jankanu. These are all connected to like Africa. So these are where like my culture stems from, and a lot of like my grit and my hard work and perseverance creates who I am today.
I love that. And the reason why I like that intro so much is because I think a lot of times when you ask someone to introduce themselves, the first thing they think to tell you is about like their career, the roles they've had, the things that they've accomplished. But what I think is most important is just kind of getting familiar with the background and the culture of the person that I'm actually speaking to. Yeah. And I think it's also cool because you all just kind of got like a brief like history lesson. Like so many of you probably never heard of Garifuna, right? Yeah. I mean, for me, my first time hearing about Garifunas, I want to say was maybe like my senior year of college.
Wow. I
met a guy and he was the one that was Garifuna. He gave me like this whole breakdown on what the culture is, what it entails, how it's inspired other cultures. And I'm like, why don't we know these things? I feel like we're so familiar with just like, you know, when we think about Latin American culture, we're thinking Dominican, Puerto Rican to an extent, maybe South America kind of integrating into that culture. We're thinking about West Indians, Jamaica, Dominica. Y'all don't know about that one, but Dominica. But when you think about a place like Honduras that has this kind of blended culture, I think it's cool that you were able to kind of like inform people about that. Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. And by the way, can we give a shout out to the Bronx? Like, do you all just see how amazing like Bronx people are?
Bronx excellence.
You get me? So when you encounter someone from Brooklyn, just remind them like, you know, Bronx people are really that great. I had to go there. But anyway, we'll get a little bit more serious. So IJ just kind of like gave us some introduction to his upbringing, how he grew up, the fact that he migrated from Honduras to America. What I want to know now is, let's kind of jump this up a little bit towards, let's say, high school. You are doing menswear, right? Designing. You are doing this for weddings, proms, God knows what else, like just any event, anything, right? But did you always know that you wanted to do this? And if you didn't, what was the original career goal?
Before I answer that, I want to tell all of the listeners to be mindful of watching the signs.
Yeah.
And to don't ignore the signs, because your ancestors and whatever your belief is, it's gonna push you towards, the universe is gonna push you towards what you should be doing. A lot of us force ourselves to do what our parents want, or what like the media wants you to do, but you got to push yourself to what keeps you happy, right? So for me, it was always art. In high school, I was an art major, and then college, I was an art major. I was a graphic design major, so it was always art. And I'm like, damn, in my mind, I'm like, I want to be able to run my own company, and I wanted to be an art director. I wanted to be able to have just like hire staff, and then they would just be designing websites and logos, and I'll have like clients that need this and that for like big events. I asked for that, and I got so much more in return.
I love that.
You know, and I was able to actually navigate the difference of being able to use my art within fashion, because for me, fashion is art.
Yes.
And it's a blank canvas, and I'm throwing art on it, right? And I'm creating something from scratch. And I have clients that are doing things for the biggest days of their lives, and it's synonymous to like what I said from when I wanted to be a graphic designer and director, because technically this is my company. I'm a director of the company. Right. You know, so it was like, all right, you want this? I'm gonna give you this 10 times more.
I like that. So you asked for something, and you didn't know it was going to be menswear. You knew that it was art. At the time, you just didn't think about art being so interconnected with fashion. And when you went to college, was your major graphic design, or you majored in something else to do graphic design?
My major was always graphic design. I went to school in Cobblestone. That was the first college that I went to.
Okay.
2 years. They didn't have a 4-year program in graphic design. I got Graphic Design of the Year award. I was designing all the stuff in school. I knew I wanted to do design.
Okay.
I was doing like logos, flyers, the shirts, all of that stuff, everything in the school. And from there, I wanted to go into my dream college, which was FIT, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology. Not only was it affordable because it was a SUNY school, but it was back at home. Okay. And I'm like, you know what? I've got my college experience. Let me tap into my career more. Excuse me. And then let me see what this graphic design program works like. So I got in. I was in a communication design program for one. It was like an advanced communication design program, because usually it was 2 years. Right. But I got into the 1-year program, so they cramped 2 years into one. And you had to take that in order to get into the graphic design program. Right. At FIT. So I got in. And I was just navigating through freelancing companies. I was working at ESPN.
ESPN.
Yeah, and this is after I graduated at FIT. I was the lead designer for Vibe magazine. I was working at CNN, Scholastic, and at the same time, I was still dabbling into fashion, but streetwear. Okay. So I had a streetwear company called Ijay Apparel, and that's a lot of my failures, quote unquote. When I say failures, because you learn so much from that. I learned how to do marketing. I learned how to production, fabrics, how things should fit on people. And I took that and ran with it, and I blended into like me being a stylist. I like that. So a lot of people wasn't aware that I was a stylist for a while. The reason why I was a stylist was because I wanted to learn more of like, I used to always dress like this, but I really didn't know like the background and the aesthetics of it. Okay. Meaning I can dress you up, but how is something built? Okay. And where's this fabric from? Okay. And then that's how I navigated into like the fashion of like fine menswear. Okay. And you were doing this at the same time when you were doing graphic design. Yeah, and I like would question God. I would question my ancestors about whether or not should I be doing graphic design 100%? Should I be doing fashion 100%? And that's when I mentioned to you that you have to look at the signs. And a lot of my signs were like, your graphic design 100% is not for you. You have to be using graphic design as a tool to do what you're here to do. I like that. And I'm here to like make people feel good. I'm here to make people feel empowered and just give them good vibes. I like that a lot. Yeah. The reason why I like that story so much is because, once again, like when people see you now and they see what you're wearing, they're not thinking about someone who dresses like this starting off by making like
streetwear clothing. Like when I hear streetwear clothing, I'm thinking like sweatpants, maybe some jeans, the hoodies, the crew necks, things like that are very casual, very dressed down, very much so not what we're wearing at this very moment, right? But I think it's cool that you realize that there is no limitation to your creativity, right? Just because you started off in one lane, which was the streetwear, t-shirts, I'm guessing as well, you did graphic design. Now, I want to show people how else they can spice it up. And that means, wearing suits as vibrant as this one, right? So what I want to do is remind everybody once again, this is someone that started off doing graphic design for companies like ESPN, Scholastic, you said Vibe magazine, right? Really big name companies. And I think that a lot of times when we're doing like 9-to-5 jobs, in these really pop-in spaces, you kind of feel like, all right, I know I have this yearning to pursue these other things, but damn, I work for this company. Like I probably should just focus on growing here and really showing what I can do and what I can offer to this space. So my question to you is, how did you not fall into that trap? Like how did you realize I have this passion for art and fashion? I'm also good at graphic design that has brought me to these companies, but I can't let my work at these companies overshadow my passions that can one day become full-time.
I think just pure happiness, like looking at what makes you happy and looking at what you're here on this planet to do. Like life is live, like it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And I felt like every minute mattered, and it mattered more than the checks that were coming in. At the time, it was good, quote unquote, at that moment, but in the long run, it just wasn't gonna fulfill me. I'm big on fulfillment.
I like that.
And I think that the strategy for me in life would be to be able to know what I'm here to do. And once I know what I'm here to do, I execute that. Because tomorrow's never promised. And I don't want to just leave where it's like, yeah, he was just sitting in front of a desk his whole life.
Right. I like that. So I want to walk through this trajectory real quick, right? We're talking about, once again, a guy that came from Honduras, came to America, went to high school in the Bronx. I'm skipping elementary and middle school for now because we'll be here all day for a recap about that. Went to Cobleskill for 2 years, started his art, not started, but as a degree, kicked off his art journey from there. Then went to FIT, was still doing art. Afterwards, started working for all these prominent companies, also starting his like streetwear line. And once again, not the suits, but the sweatpants and the hoodies and the crew necks and the t-shirts. What I want to know now is, after doing all of that, when did you and your partner decide it was time to take things up to another level? I want to stop doing streetwear and maybe stop doing graphic design to now do this.
So it was funny because my business partner Gilly, we always kept in contact. He was my college roommate at Cobleskill. We always kept in contact, and I realized that he was in retail companies. He was like just enhancing his skills as far as retail and like business. And he was always working in the men's clothing company. And he was like, listen, I started this company, but I need help. Like, you want to be part of it? And I'm like, yo, there's a niche in this, and there's something that the black dollar is missing. Right? There's something that these other companies are not getting, and we know what our people want. So how can we do that?
I like that.
And that's when we came together, and then we came up. We launched Garcon Couture in 2016 in November.
Nice.
And it's been a roller coaster ever since, but it's been uphill. It's been like this.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what I want to start talking about very soon is like the real depths of entrepreneurship and like what that looks like on a day-to-day, especially since 2016. But what I want to start off with is this comment that you made about realizing that, this space is missing the black dollar. And who deserves that black dollar? Yeah. Should it be, what's that store called? Men's Warehouse?
Don't curse.
Should it be that?
No cursing here.
Like, we don't want them to have the black dollar. Like, why can't there be a company that's created by us, for us? I know that's so cliche, but I have to say it, and I love that you mentioned that. Yeah. And a quick question I have for you is, I know that you're in a Greek organization. You are a
Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to the noobs.
And I was going to say it myself, but I knew he'll be more excited if he said it, so I let him have that one. Yeah. But I felt like it wasn't until I came to college and like started like seeing like guys who were in Greek organizations like dress up, and I realized, oh wait, there are guys that like to dress up in suits and like go to meetings and look all pampered and groomed and whatnot. In high school, that wasn't a thing. We were all wearing streetwear clothing. Like, we're wearing sweatpants, crew necks, and that's pretty much it. So my question to you is, do you feel like being a part of that organization kind of helped, like, jumpstart this journey? Or, like, what did it do for you?
It definitely was an impactful thing because we have, like, this saying of, like, dress noopy, or, like, noopish, which means, like, just be dressy.
Okay.
And there's so many successful people. Our motto is achievement in every field of human endeavor.
Okay.
That's literally like just being able to be great at everything that you do.
I like that.
And I followed that motto, and I connected also with like my 10th grade teacher, Miss Johnson. She would say, dress for success. And I remember always getting dressed on Wednesdays and always feeling my best with a necktie and a blazer and pants and speaking up with my head up and just like reading something or like just having a debate. So I connect those two impactful moments of like being part of a fraternity, but also like that 10th grade teacher, Miss Johnson, connecting it with that and just being able to see how, you know, going against a stereotype.
Yeah.
Like how black men, you know, you only wear a suit for a funeral.
Yeah.
You only wear a suit for a court date.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, nah, we gotta reverse that and then let people know that we could get fly.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
I like that. And outside of the conversation about funerals and courtrooms, for those folks who, you know, don't get the chance to go to church on a Sunday, you know, you still have, once again, a Wednesday to get dressed up, right? Like, whatever day of the week that you feel you want to assign to getting groomed up, feeling good about yourself, feeling really nice and spiffy, you can choose any day of the week to do that. It doesn't have to be an occasion. And I like that you chose a particular day in the week to do that for yourself. And the cool thing is, I can't say that it is the only thing that made you pursue this, but I'm sure it's definitely something that made you feel really good about yourself to be in a position to do this. It's like that aspect of this question many entrepreneurs ask themselves, like, am I credible enough to pursue this?
Right.
Like, that is an attribute to being credible to do that.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
I agree 100%.
I agree too, right? I said this, I should agree, right?
100%.
Annoying. All right, but entrepreneurship. You started this company since 2016, and you said November. Yeah, we're in November, y'all. That's,
Black
shit,
Friday.
6 years.
Yeah, 6.
Oh, shoot, yo. Congrats to that. Okay. What I want to know about is, what do you think is the most difficult thing about being in the industry that you're in?
The most difficult thing, that's a great question because there's a lot of difficulties within the company.
Yeah.
Within just growing a company from scratch, but it's more so like the notoriety, right, and the credibility. I think that people started to gravitate towards us more with the people who we dressed that were popular.
Okay.
And it was like, you know, we've been doing this, but okay, you see this person on the red carpet, now you're gonna come to us, which is fine, but I think that they should have came to us regardless.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there aren't that many people doing what we're doing.
Right.
At the level that we're doing it.
Who?
Yeah.
Who? Like, I don't know who else. Like, this is y'all.
And it's like, you can't walk into a store and get the experience that we give you.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get that feeling of the fabric when you touch it or like that cut. It's just different.
I agree.
You know, so we have to show and prove. I feel like life is about showing and proving within every level, within who you're with, where you're traveling. You have to show and prove stuff. Work, families, values, all of that stuff. You have to show and prove. So I guess we have to show that to let people know, like, we the real deal.
I like that. And if you all don't believe what he's saying in regards to just like the uniqueness of the style of their suits, the fabric, and etc., once again, Exhibit A. And not only that, you're not blind. I know you can see behind me. Exhibit B. Like, where can you get a suit like this from? Come on. Like, there's really nowhere else you're going to get this type of vibe from. Can we agree on that? I know we agree on that.
100%.
Exactly. So I think that, once again, like what you just said, it means so much, right? Like the fact that you guys are shaking up the table by just really being very innovative through the design, through the aesthetic, and through the feel. And I also want to highlight one more thing that I don't think you would have said. And in a way, I feel like what your company does really well and the way you guys brand yourself, there's like a sense of community there as well. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, and you'll talk about it some more, it's like the kind of experiences that they're a part of, right? This is people's weddings, people's proms, like very memorable moments. I mean, I know for me, like my first time like being exposed to you and your brand is on IG. I don't wear men's suits. I mean, I got a little blazer, you know, every here and there, but like seeing so many like young men in the Greek community in particular, just always willing to shout him out and being like, yeah, like I'm decked down with Garcon. Like, I'm like, what is that? Like, I never seen that in a mall somewhere, but long and behold, it's online, right? And that's the kind of work that they're doing. So once again, it's like really identifying who your community is, how you're setting yourselves apart. To your point, it doesn't need to be because they style celebrities and famous people. They're really styling everyday people and really making them look like the celebrities. Because if I see somebody walk down the block with this, I'm definitely going to think they're famous. Like, I'm going to think you're either poppin', swaggy, famous, rich, whatever it is. This and this gives that vibe. So that I had to just put that out there. I know you wouldn't say it, so I had to say it for him. Listen, people on my show, they're humble, all right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the brag for them. So that's what I'm here for.
I appreciate it. Keep going.
I love that. Now, another difficult question I want to ask you is, when I think about many people pursuing careers in fashion, one of their biggest frustrations in the beginning is money. Yeah. It's very hard to make money in this space, specifically because it's clothes. Yeah, it looks good, but you got to prove to people like why your brand is so important. Yeah. Like, kind of walk us through the journey of like just building a profitable revenue generating business over the course of a few years.
So for a while, we had trouble finding a good CFO.
Okay.
Which is a chief financial officer. Right? You gotta have that. You gotta have an accountant. You gotta have a lawyer, because those all go hand in hand. Outside of fashion, this is way deeper than fashion. There's a lot of things that you have to get situated with. But with the CFO thing, is more so you want someone that's going to be able to find ways to generate more revenue. Okay. Find ways to enhance profit. Right. Profit values. Look at your P&L loss. Profit and loss statements, understanding like what your goals are for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, compared to the year before, understanding where you can customize, understanding how can you add more revenue towards certain pieces. For example, e-commerce. Yeah. How can we bring in 20% much more value in e-commerce? What can we change? Yeah. Can we add more products? Do we adjust the pricing? Do we change the layout of it for people to make it easier for them to shop from home? Yep. You know, do we add more marketing dollars? Do we do more Google ads? All of these stuff are things that are connected to the value of like the company and being able to know, all right, we gotta spend less money on this. We gotta spend more money on that. You know, what if we got a customer service person that can be able to direct clients to make the appointments much easier? Yeah. So these are things that are all connected to like the profit margins and like just pretty much the numbers in the company. Yeah. So that was a very well thought out answer. And I like how you talked about product, right? Because one of the other businesses that I think that maybe, I don't think you don't speak about it as much. I think that people just know the title Garcon Couture. But when we think about diversifying products and not only selling suits, you also sell shoes. So talk a little bit about Illy and Gilly, right? Yeah. So we realized that there was a disconnect with then completing purchases for Garcon Couture. Okay. So what that means is a lot of times clients needed something and we'll send them somewhere else. And they'll come back with red bottoms. They'll come back with like Del Toro shoes. And we're like, yo, we need to be able to create a shoe line. Yep. So that people can just complete the purchase and it's like a one-stop shop. Yep. Makes it easier for them. So we came up with Illy and Gilly. I'm Illy, my business partner is Gilly. And we have a range of 8 shoes on illyandgilly.com. A lot of them are sold out right now, but they're here, right? So we have a few shoes that are dress shoes, and we have some tuxedo shoes. Okay. The tuxedo shoes are blue bottoms. The blue represents the Caribbean Sea, right? Honduras, I'm from Honduras, a bit far from Haiti. That's surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, but we have clients here that are from Jamaica, right? From Dominican Republic. We have clients from Trinidad. We have clients from pretty much the entire Caribbean Sea. That African diaspora is so beautiful, and we wanted to hone in on that, and we wanted to be intentional with that storytelling. You know, let's walk on water with excellence while wearing Garcon Couture and Illy and Gilly. So that's why we created those, that beautiful collection of Illy and Gilly shoes. Can we pause on that? That's fire. That is like, all right, calm down. I think that's so fire because to your point, you're designing these suits, you're tailoring with them, you know, you're styling them, you're doing your thing, right? And people, once again, are coming in with red bottoms, which most of us know about, and they're also really, really expensive. But forget a red bottom, like, yo, come cop your blue bottom, like, you get me? And I also feel like the story that you created behind the selection of that color, I feel like once people become more familiar with that, it's even more empowering because
when you think about like your target audience and the fact that you are in a very fortunate position to design for and style a lot of like people from the African diaspora, it's like, once again, like these are things that are familiar to us, like being around the sea, you know, being exposed to the water, oceans, etc. That's fine.
Like what's the red for? Like, what is the red for? No one knows.
No one knows. It's just red, and for us, we get so excited about it. Like red bottoms,
Red.
yes. Blue bottoms, eh? Sorry guys, we're birds. But no, I really do like that story, and I resonate with it. Actually, fun fact, I never knew there was a difference between a suit shoe and a tux shoe.
Yeah.
I didn't, to be honest. I don't even know how a tux is like different from a suit. I just thought a tux is a type of suit.
It happens.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I think it's a good thing that I don't wear tuxedos for now, so I don't have to know that. But it's cool to know. So if you didn't know that, there's actually a difference. Note that. Keep that. All right, cool. So we spent some time talking about your upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
We spent some time talking about the difficulties that you experience in entrepreneurship through Garcon Couture. I don't know, also probably similar for Illy Gilly.
Yeah.
I want to speak about the highlights. I want to know, what is like your most precious memory while being in this business?
My most precious memory, the first one was Caleb McLaughlin he was our first big client, wearing our tuxedo for the Emmys on TV. And they asked him what he wearing. He was like, Garcon Couture. And my phone was just going crazy. Twitter, everything was just going wild. And I was like, I'm not going back to corporate America.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I like how you said that, because I hope you all didn't forget how we had that conversation about, once again, not letting your 9 to 5 diminish the other things that you're passionate about that can one day become your full time. And that right there, just put it in perspective. Like, that's the reassurance that we all want to experience to remind us, like, I made the right decision stepping outside of the box and pursuing something I really care about. Like, that could be your end result. And it didn't end there. Like, there's other people that you have also styled for. Once again, so it's about weddings.
But that was
proms.
remember when I mentioned that, to be able to look at the signs.
Exactly.
And don't hide them, don't run away from the signs, and be mindful of that. That was I'm not going back.
I love that. Yeah. And you don't have to answer this, but if you're comfortable doing this, because once again, I want them to brag a little bit. So if there's anybody else that you feel like our audience might know that you've actually styled, who are these people? Who have you styled?
Have you seen Orange is the New Black?
I have.
Danielle Brooks.
Okay.
I did her engagement shoot. I did her wedding in January. I did my guys Miles and Woody. This is all myself on the covers. Married at First Sight. I dressed them as well. I did Lovey from Chicago. I did her husband for their wedding. Spinderella, I did her shoot as well. We're actually in Essence also. So we've done like Joel Embiid for the cover of ESPN magazine. We did Omarion, we did Woody the Great, we did Jabari from Bel Air, we did Omari Hardwick, Rotimi, Felicia Ross, she's a popular Haitian singer. The list can go on, and I just finished doing Deezus. We actually came to our fashion show, Deezus from, comedian Deezus, but also we just finished signing a big deal with Cam Newton, so he's our official business partner also. So we've been blessed, and we don't take anything for granted. And there's still so much work to do, because I feel like there's so many people who don't know who we are, and our competitors don't know who we are, but they should be afraid.
I like that.
They should be very afraid.
I like that. And once again, I'm not sure if you all caught that at the very end. Like, the fact that he was able to just list out all of these very important, prominent people that he and his partner have like styled and designed for, but still proceeding to say, we have a lot more work to do. Like, there's still work to be done. Like, even though we've accomplished all of these great things and have these achievements, it doesn't end here. Because greatness does not have an end. There's no cap to greatness. You just keep growing and doing. And the cool thing is, you're doing work that not only benefits you and your partner as a business, but you make people feel good. And people get excited seeing like the pictures in the magazines and finding inspiration for their weddings and God knows what else. Like, you all do that. That's huge. You feel that? I feel that too. So, with that being said, Ijay, I have one last question for you. You ready for it?
I'm ready, let's do it.
Now, I always ask people this question: what does the future of blank look like? I don't know what blank is for you, because I think that you can speak about so many things.
Yeah.
But if you can fill in that blank, what does that blank and its future look like? What is that?
The future of men's mental health looks amazing.
Okay, I like that.
And I say that because compared to when I was a teenager, I feel like mental health was a taboo, especially for black men. And I can speak for myself that therapy has been one of like the cheat codes for me when it comes to just becoming a better man and becoming a better human on this planet, and putting mental health as a priority above anything. You can navigate through those life obstacles much more. It'll be much more convenient when you have like a mental attack, or if you keep on practicing like these mental techniques that you learn, whether it be in personal development groups, whether it be with a therapist, whether it be with like your friends that uplift you and put you at a higher level, you know, for you to be able to empower yourself to just knock out these goals and just pursue happiness, as I mentioned.
You felt that? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect that one, and I'm really happy you said that. Yeah. And I'm so happy you said that, because I was just having a conversation with a friend about, like, you know, just like men having the opportunity to be more vulnerable, identify like who they actually can be vulnerable with, and like why like men's mental health shouldn't just be like a fad or a trend. It should be something that we're all really taking seriously, so that we can see those changes that you were talking about, and people feeling more comfortable with themselves, their environments, and just everything else. So I think that it was really awesome that, I can't say it was a twist because that was your answer, but it was a twist for me, because I thought he would have said something like entrepreneurship, marketing, menswear, but instead he cared so much to bring up men's mental health. And I think that once again speaks to his character. I think it just reaffirms the kind of guy that he is outside of the business, outside of the suit. So I really want to say thank you so much for doing this interview.
Great job.
And ending on that note.
Yes, thank you for having me. Continue doing that. I want to be able to wish nothing but success for you to be on the level of Oprah. Like, let's make it happen.
Speak into it. Listen, like he said, words have power. Since high school, he's been saying some things, and you know, it's been working for him. So let me do the same thing. Y'all hear that, right? All right. Well, with that being said, everybody, thank you all so much for listening, and tune into the next episode.